Hey guys, it's Sick here. It's the end of the year, so I'm going to do what everyone else does and say my top 10 games that I played this year. Now, it's not games that was released this year, it was games that I personally played that I played this year. So it could be an old game, it could be a new game. Honorable mention is Dungeons and Dragons. I think I started playing that before this year, but this was the year I really got into it, but I'm not really counting it that much. I've got a few bits here that are scripted, but for the most part, it's going to be completely improvised. So this is going to be fun. Number 10 is Grip. When I was a kid, I had a Sony PlayStation, and it had a handful of games such as the Crash series, the Spyro series, the Tomb Raider series, Metal Gear Solid, Bubsy 3D. But it also had a handful of demo discs that came with it, and there was one which I kept coming back to. It was a game called Roll Cage. I don't know what it is that drew me to it. Maybe it was just the fact that it was like this crazy driving game where you could never, well, you can be flipped upside down, but it didn't matter because it was like, it could drive both ways. And I have a soft spot for those kind of race games, like the more arcadey ones, like your Sonic and Sega All-Stars Racing and such. But it was a really fun demo. I never got the actual game. And then I found out that there was a game called Grip that's currently still in early access on Steam. It is really fun. It's exactly how I would picture if Roll Cage was made in with today's tech. I've played it a while, and I definitely want my friends to play it more, but I'm holding off on playing it because I don't want to get burnt out. But hey, hopefully it comes out full speed out of early access. And mouse support in the menus. Please give us mouse support in the menus. It's really annoying. Number 9, Injustice Gods Among Us. Little secret, I absolutely hate any fighting game that is like above the simplicity of Smash. Like, Smash is like the red line. You do not go more complicated than Smash because it's too complicated. I have this attitude with fighters that if you didn't join in at the beginning, you will just get bodied over and over and over again. And a lot of people might say, oh, well, you'll just improve. It's like if you played League of Legends a little bit late, which I did. But the difference there is that it seems that there's the bottom bar. There's the bottom bar for fighters beyond Smash. And then there's me. I am well below the bar, and I mean, put simply, my online fighting experience was Street Fighter 4, and it took about half an hour to find an opponent, and that opponent was like the lowest you could get, and he completely kicked my ass. I'm not good at fighting games, which was surprising when I played Injustice Gods Among Us. I actually really like that game. I don't know why, because I've never been interested in the DC or Marvel universe. It's just never really... I mean, yeah, sure, Superman and Batman are pretty cool, but it's never held for me. I've never really been that arsed about it. So I was pleasantly surprised when I get to, play this game. And for a fighting game as well, the story's actually pretty cool. I was legitimately invested. That's kind of what I like. And it seems to be a lot more friendlier than, say, Street Fighter. Where you need to, like... I think my big problem is, like, you need to know the exact frames. Not my thing. I'm more of a button masher, and unfortunately, like... I don't want fighting games to be where you can just button mash to win, but... it's a bit too... normal fighting games are a bit too anti-button mash, whereas this Injustice felt like it. I'm not playing it multiplayer, though. No way. No. No. A few years ago, I made my first Kickstarter pledge, and that pledge was Shantae HalfGenie Heroes. But I haven't played that yet, because I'm still playing through the other Shantaes. You might have seen my playthrough of it. I'm playing Pirate's Curse, and that's that's what's taking this apart. It's just a solid upgrade from Risky's Revenge, you know? I like how I like how they basically made Zelda 2, like Zelda 2, like the Nintendo Zelda 2, but less clunky and with more hot chicks, which is always a pleasant thing. And the humor as well. Like, this is clearly a game for kids, but it has a lot. It's like Animaniacs, where it has quite a few adult jokes in there. I mean, it has some adult imagery. I mean, for Christ's sake, I mean, Shantae showing, like, she can hardly show less skin. But I kind of like that, you know? It's one of those where it's good for all ages. And it's one of those kind of like Metroid... It's kind of like these Metroidvania kind of games, which I don't mind. I actually like them. Not much to say about this one. Okay, so word of caution, the next ones that I've got here have literally no script whatsoever, so I am going to either be like 1 or 2 lining it or going on a massive tangent. Number 7 is Destiny 2. I know there's a lot of controversy with this. Don't get me... I know there's a lot of controversy with this game going on right now. But like, before all this controversy came, I did get the game. I liked it. I really did like it. It felt more inviting to me. Destiny 1, I couldn't give a rat's ass about it. There was no hook with it, and even now there's no hook with it. But Destiny 2, I don't know. There's something about Destiny 2 that I really like. Maybe it's because it reminded me of Borderlands. I'm a big fan of the Borderlands series. And just the fact that it had this stuff that reminded me of that was probably my hook to it. And I'm not sure, because I'm pretty sure Destiny 1 had the same things, but for whatever reason, again, Destiny 1 didn't have the hook. I think it's because they made it, like, really, like, closed in. They were, like, Destiny 2, they broadened it out to other people, which I think is why it appealed to me. You know, it appealed to me who, in terms of, like, first-person shooter RPGs, is, like, again, Borderlands. I'm a huge Borderlands fan. So, yeah, that was probably the reason why I got drawn into it. And controversy aside, I do enjoy it. I mean, I am invested in the story, even though I know people say it's rather shallow, but I like the gunplay. I like the whole dropping co-op part of it. But yeah, the the controversy, the loot boxes, the Eververse, the shards which you can only get in boxes, the fact that they've locked one of the... Like, why? Why lock one of the vanilla raids behind... Like, make an extra difficulty for it. Like, you've got, like, what is it? You've got normal, prestige. Just make another one called Legend. And have that be the one where it's like, oh no, you need the DLC for that one. Don't lock out the vanilla stuff. It's really shitty. Really shitty. If I ever make a game like this, and I did have loot boxes, so I definitely probably, I mean... I think it's just my opinion, because, like, everyone's like, loot boxes this, loot boxes that, and I know it's not a real place. But if I ever made a game and I had loot boxes, I would actually have a limit of how many loot boxes you could get. You know. So, I'm on 1404. Okay, truth be told, I thought this was another Civilization game. And it wasn't, but it was. It's weird how this game works. It's very weird. It's difficult to explain as well. It's kind of like a trading simulator more than anything. You spend more time trading than you do, like, actual combat. That's not to say that isn't combat. And honestly, the combat, pretty shitty. Pretty goddamn shitty. It's not like it's got similar to, like, say, if you're trying to board a boat in the Total War series. It's got that kind of thing where it's like, oh, they attack and... You know, more things do this, more things do that. The combat is very watered down. It's very clear when they made this game, this series, I should say, that they were aiming for just the economy aspects, which I'm fine with, honestly. So many grand strategy games and RTS games focus on the combat. Like, yeah, sure, Civilization focuses on the economics, but it's very drawn down, and that's more about, like, the technological side of it. The Hearts of Iron series, it's more about the diplomatic side of it, but it also obviously throws in combat and all that stuff, because you need an army to defend yourself. But Anon, has kind of, it's very much about the economic and trade routes and naval combat, which I'm a big sucker for. I think there's something poetic about two giant ships just duking it out with each other, which is probably the reason why I'm also attached to space battles, because usually in fiction, it very much follows the naval aspect of ships in space, but it's in space, so that makes it like 100 times better and 100 times more cooler. But yeah, no, kind of do wish that the combat was a bit solid, but it's like, I liked it. Number 5 is Tekken 7. I don't actually know why this is my number 5. There's just something about Tekken 7 that I really enjoyed. I think it might be because... Okay, so my only previous experience with Tekken games was Tekken Tag Tournament. That was fun. That was a lot of fun. I think the reason why I like Tekken 7 is that it has the same feel of Tekken Tag, but it's also got more... Not freedom. Well, the big thing is that it's got a lot more noob-friendly characters. They have a couple of characters that are specifically there for dummies like me to play. And you know what? I'm really happy about that. I like the designs of several of the characters. Again, like with Injustice, a surprisingly cool story. Like, yeah, sure, it's a fighting game story at the end of the day, but it's actually a genuinely interesting story. I would have liked to have an English dub, though, and I know that there's going to be a lot of people that's like, oh, how dare you taint this game with your dub when the sub is clearly superior. I don't give a shit. I like my English voices, you know. I would love to see, and I'm aware that Tekken had some pretty fucking piss poor, but I think the thing that annoys me is the fact that, and I know it makes complete sense, kind of, but it's like, you have these characters that are talking in their native tongue. So like Nina's talking in English, and I think it was Hirochi, was it Hitachi? I think it was Hitachi, is speaking in Japanese. Okay, fair enough, but surely they would be speaking the same language to fucking understand each other. But nope, they speak their own separate languages and they can understand, and that really bugs me, because it's like, come on, it's like, I know I'm sounding like, oh, English is such a great language, but come on, my fucking English speaker, I would love, and also as well, like, you could get so many other voice actors to do that. I mean, like we got, at the time of this recording, we got, Noxus, I think his name is, from Final Fantasy 15 coming out. They're probably going to use his Japanese voice actor, but I'd love it for the guy's English one. Hell, I'd love it if they got English voice actors for everything, you know. I can imagine a ton of voice actors. Like, I can imagine Darren DuPaul being in there. Aaron Fitzgerald, I can imagine being there. Matthew Mercer's also a good one. Troy Baker, because he's in everything. Yeah, I don't know. That's like my biggest gripe. Have not played it online, will probably never play it online, except if it's with friends. Kind of like when I play Skullgirls with my friends. I am well aware that I suck. I've seen gameplay footage of people online, like bad people online, and they could kick my ass with one hand tied behind their back. Number 4 is Ukulele. Okay, this is a weird one because at the same time, I'm also annoyed at this game, but I can't deny that it's a fun game. I didn't grow up with, like, the Rare games. I never had an SNES. I never had a Nintendo 64. So I never did play the Donkey Kong... Well, that's a lie. I did play Donkey Kong Country once. Only once. And that's not including on the Wii Virtual Console either. I've only played it once. I never played Banjo-Kazooie. I never played outside of Nuts and Bolts, but I don't fucking count that, because goddamn. I never played Conkers, never played Donkey Kong 64. I've never played any of them. So Ukulele is my first taste into a rare platformer, figuratively and literally. I like it, but I can see what people mean. Like, even though I haven't played the Banjo-Kazooie games, I definitely know that there were problems of platformers of the past. Why'd they keep that bad stuff in? It's really annoying, because it's like, I do enjoy the game, but I can't deny, like, the worlds are too big. I feel the worlds are too big and such. And one thing as well that really annoys me is, this game came out in April. They promised a Nintendo 64 shader. We are now about to hit the new year, and we have not got it. I totally get it. I totally get it. They wanted to work on the Switch port. Totally understand that. But come on, guys. You promised it. I even got... Where is it? Where'd it go? I even got the Nintendo 64, like, cartridge thing for it. It's like, come on, seriously. I have no idea if I'm ever going to use the 64 gigs that are in this thing. Number 3 is Final Fantasy XIV: A Realm Reborn. This is kind of ironic having this on my list, given how I've basically stopped playing it because my friends stopped playing it. I've played a lot of MMORPGs in my lifetime. I've played RuneScape, EVE Online. I won't count World of Warcraft, so I'm not going to. Terra, Fly for Fun, Air Rivals, Dungeons and Dragons Online. I've already said Terra. Archage, Black Desert Online, and now this. Now Final Fantasy XIV. Final Fantasy XIV feels a lot like RuneScape to me, which, don't castrate me for this, but I think RuneScape is like the bar of like a good game, a good MMO. Like a lot of stuff to do, a lot of freedom to do things and such. The problem is with a lot of the MMOs that I play is that they were very limited, or they had things that made it limited. Like EVE Online, for example. Really good game, but by God, does it take a while to get anywhere, and it's like, you can't be a jack of all trades because you'll just get fucked up. In Black Desert Online, it's like, again, absolutely adore the combat. Like, I think Black Desert Online has some of the best combat in the game next to Terra. Like, in any MMO, I should say, next to Terra. But the problem is, there's no co-op stuff in Black Desert Online. There's none. I don't think there's any in the end game either. And like with Terra, well, that's just there's no real weaknesses. Like you can be anything and you'll be fine. That's a big problem with Terra and such. But Final Fantasy XIV, it's like you can literally be anything. And I absolutely love that. I don't like how much you have to grind for it, you know? But I definitely like it. Again, I like the story. Really annoyed about the fact that they changed all the voice. Like, I get it. When Heaven's Sword came out, one of the Japanese voice actresses had been killed, or died, or whatever, so they had to change the Japanese voice actress for it. But why did they have to change all... Like, they had Sam goddamn Riegel in there. They had Sam Riegel. That's one of the characters, and they threw him away. And I think Erin Fitzgerald was in there, and they threw her away. And I'm pretty sure they had fucking Taliesin Jaffe in there as Thancred, and I thought that was like the perfect thing. And then they threw him away. And that really that really annoyed me. Beyond that, I don't really have anything to complain about, except, I mean, I know it's an MMO. I get it. It's an MMO. It's going to happen, but it's really grindy. Really grindy. Not a big fan. Not a big fan of the grind, but I understand it's there in an MMO. Yeah. In fact, the only reason I left was just because, like, my friends were like, oh, yeah, no, when you get to our level, we'll help you out, and then they quit. And that's a big problem with MMOs. That's why I've gone through so many of them, because I've started to play an MMO. Then my friends just quit. Ironically, except for RuneScape. I still keep playing that one. Not sure what its hook is for me, but, you know. Number 2 is Sonic Mania. No surprises here. Sonic Mania is just a overall good... There's not much I can really talk about it, really. It's an overall really good game. It repeats a lot of stuff a bit too much. But beyond that, it's a really good game. Reminds me of Sonic 3 Knuckles. Doesn't beat Sonic 3 Knuckles, but it reminds me of it, which is why it's here. And number 1 is Divinity Original Sin 2. Truth be told, I've never played the original Divinity games, but I do intend to. In fact, I might just go ahead and, like, if I start streaming more, I might just stream, like, RPGs and have that be one of my first ones. Yeah, it's just, I'm not actually a big fan of isometric, like, top-down RPGs either. It's not really my thing. I know that's ironic because I play RuneScape. But I really don't normally like it. It's one of those where I can't really explain why I really like it. I think it's more just because it does remind me, because this was around the time where I was starting to really get into Dungeons and Dragons. And lo and behold, Divinity Original Sin 2 is what I would imagine Dungeons and Dragons to be, which is also ironic because I've played Forgotten Realms Demon Stone, which is a Dungeons and Dragons game, and Dungeons and Dragons Online, which is Dungeons and Dragons game. But this definitely feels it. And also the fact it's got the Game Master thing, which, allows you to make your own campaigns. It's really good. And it has mod support. Like, fucking, I've gotten so many mods that I will never be able to properly use. Like, I've got like 8 class mods, and it's like going to be impossible for that to be the thing, just because of how they are. But it is so much fun, and I enjoy it. Kind of a bit slow paced at the same time. It's like, apparently there's only like 3 areas you go into. Like 3 big hub world areas, such. I would have loved it if it was like pure open world. That's my only regret with it. And, yeah, that's about all I can say about that. So, that's that. That is my, 10 games I played this year that I really enjoyed. As I said, honorable mention goes to Dungeons & Dragons, of which I started getting into properly. Another honorable mention would have to be Subnautica. Played it a lot in the past. Waiting for the 1.0 release, which is apparently next month, so can't wait. Can't wait. I'm definitely gonna cheat on that one and put that up there as my 10 of 2018, unless we get like 10 amazing games that really interest me. But yeah, no, that's that. So, yeah, why don't you go ahead and tell me what your 10 games were that you played in 2017? It'd be interesting to see. Or don't, your choice. But yeah, thanks for dealing with my rambling for the last 20 minutes. And I'll catch you all next time. Bye-bye!